Walking slowly through life, reflections on the human condition. There are days when we suddenly realize that life has slipped by faster than we ever expected. The children who once clung to the hem of our shirt have become busy parents themselves. The house that used to echo with laughter now carries only the steady hum of a fan spinning through the quiet. And then it dawns on us. Old age does not arrive all at once. It settles gently over our lives like early morning mist, so soft, so subtle, that one day we look in the mirror and see our hair has turned a little whiter. After 60, 70, people no longer fear death. What they fear most is living out long days with no one to share them with. We still eat, but without someone sitting across from us, the meal loses its flavor. We still laugh, but without someone to hear it, the laughter feels hollow. We are still healthy, but without someone to encourage us, that health becomes strangely meaningless. In youth, we live out of duty. Later, we live out of responsibility. But when life reaches its twilight, we quietly ask ourselves, and who do I live for in the years that remain? That is when we return to ourselves, facing the quiet needs we buried for so long while caring for others. Needs that are simple, yet deeply human. To talk, to be asked how we are, to cook a meal for someone, to have someone remind us to wear a hat on cold days, to feel our hearts stir when someone smiles. At this age, the desire to live does not fade. It simply changes shape. People over 60 still have their longings, sometimes stronger than when they were young, because now they finally understand what matters and what is merely fleeting. We want to eat well, but in a gentle way. A warm bowl of broth, a plate of steamed greens dipped in ginger fish sauce, a tender sweet potato on a quiet afternoon. We want to exercise, not for appearance, but to keep the body strong enough to endure the night wind. We want to meet friends, sometimes just to know we have not been forgotten by the world. We want to talk, not always because we're joyful, but so sorrow has no place to cling. And we want someone to converse with, not for passionate romance, but for companionship of the spirit. Someone who understands without long explanations, someone who senses our sadness from a single sigh, someone whose presence assures us that our existence still matters to another soul. No one wants to say it aloud, but everyone feels it. Many people over 60 live with their spouse and still feel lonely. Lonely because no one listens. Lonely because habits have become burdens. Lonely because two people living side by side have stopped speaking from the heart. Lonely because for so many years we existed only in our roles, father, mother, husband, wife, and forgot that we ourselves are human beings with delicate, fragile needs. In such a life, sometimes all it takes is a friend of the opposite sex, walking together beneath the evening trees to warm the heart again. Not to stray, not to betray any moral path, but to save one's spirit from withering away. Older people need affection, not the tempestuous love of youth, but a gentle, slow warmth, like a cup of hot tea at the end of the day. The older we grow, the more we understand the greatest comfort is not wealth, nor even health, but the presence of someone who understands the words we never speak. Sometimes it's just a short conversation, sometimes a faint smile, sometimes a slow, earnest handshake. Yet all of it reminds us that we are still alive. We have lived through noisy, crowded years. We have cared for children and grandchildren, worked for food and shelter, endured the burdens of responsibility. So why, at this age, do we deny ourselves the right to be gentle with our own hearts? We may exercise for our bones, but we should also meet people for the sake of our spirits. We may eat well to extend our years, but we should talk to someone to make a few extra minutes truly meaningful. We may cultivate inner peace, but we should also allow our hearts to stir, because a heart is never too old to remain silent. Walking slowly through life, we realize that peace does not come from the wealth we possess, nor the houses we own, but from having someone to walk with us along the rest of the road. One evening, as the sunset spilled over the rooftops, we sat on the porch listening to birds call their flock home, and suddenly the old saying felt deeply true. The first half of life is for others. The second half is for your own soul. If there is someone who warms your heart, do not hesitate. Even if it's only to talk, even if it's only to share a meal, even if it's only to walk a few hundred meters together each day. For these small things are what tether us to life itself. After 60, life no longer demands haste. We have earned the right to live slowly, gently, softly. We have the right to choose what nourishes the body and also what nourishes the heart, a heart that seemed old, yet has only just begun to learn how to love itself. We do not know how many years remain, but perhaps those years are the ones most worth living. Not loud, not chaotic, not burdened, just the deep stillness of a soul that has weathered enough storms and now seeks only peace. If we can still feel, we are still alive. If we can still long for someone, we still have a heart. If we still hope for companionship, then life has not left us behind. And if, in the quiet of an evening, we find a gaze that makes the sunset feel warmer, then let us smile. For that is the gift life gives to those who have lived long enough to treasure small happiness. And if you've stayed with me until these final moments of the video, I want to offer you my deepest gratitude. Thank you for spending your precious time walking slowly with me through this story, reflecting on aging, companionship, and the small, gentle things that keep our hearts connected to life. The twilight years are not an ending. They are a new chapter, one where we finally have the right to live softer, deeper, and more truthfully with ourselves. If today's story touched you, if it made you think or warmed your heart even just a little, please leave a like. It's a simple way of sending a bit of warmth back. And if you wish to continue this journey with me, through more reflections, more quiet thoughts, and more stories for those who have lived most of their lives, but whose hearts are still tender. Don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss the next video. I would also love to hear from you. Feel free to leave a comment below and share your feelings, your thoughts, or even a small reflection of your own. Your words might bring comfort to someone else who is listening. Once again, thank you truly for staying until the end. I wish you and your loved ones peace, good health, and someone gentle enough to understand the things you cannot put into words. See you again in the next story.